Meanwhile, Indian officials have been working to negotiate a trade deal with Washington in hopes of being exempted from reciprocal tariffs kicking in from next week.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
From the studios of Extreme Sports in Hastings, Nebraska, we present Huddle Up, a great way to start your day with all the news, weather, and sports you need, interesting interviews, and friendly conversation from two guys that go together like Scooby and Shaggy, Mike Will and Tyson Havronic.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Huddle Up here on Extreme Sports. It is a Tuesday, the 25th day of March for 2025. Mike Will, Tyson Havronic, joining you at your breakfast table here this morning with all of your news, weather, and sports. Going to be talking about the Nebraska men's basketball team. They are preparing to play Arizona State in the opening round of the college basketball crown next week out in Las Vegas. But now they're going to be losing an assistant coach. I'll tell you about that coming up. The Nebraska baseball team will be in action tonight. They'll play at Kansas State. A miserable day for the Hastings College baseball team yesterday. They were beaten by Morningside out at Duncan Field as the Mustangs hammered out 35 base hits in the twin bill in 33 runs and beating the Broncos handling in a couple of ball games. So I'll tell you about that coming up and get some comments from Hastings head coach Steve Maddock coming up during the show here today. Hastings high baseball team finally going to get around to opening up their season after a couple of games last week were postponed by the weather. The Tigers scheduled to open up their season today at York. The Dordt Defenders out of the Great Plains Athletic Conference will be playing for the NAIA Women's Basketball National Championship tonight for the second straight season after picking up a semifinal win last night at the Tyson Event Center. And a lot of coaching news here today in men's college basketball. So all that and more coming up as we get you up and get you going here for a Tuesday morning as we welcome in Tyson Havronic from the Western Studios this morning. Good morning.
And a good morning. A lot of coaching news around college basketball. And unfortunately, we're about to get a lot of player news as well. Today officially opens up the transfer portal for college basketball, which is the most asinine, bizarre way to open up a transfer portal with the Sweet 16 looming, Crown Basketball Classic, whatever the hell it's called, still yet to be played. NIT games yet to go. Women's college basketball still well into their tournament play. And here we are opening up the transfer portal. What a beautiful time to, have that team bonding opportunity in a Sweet 16 game. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm going to Gonzaga next year, so deuces. It's stupid. And J.J. Watt has even come out and saying, and I love this tweet, and I'm fired up here at 7:03 this morning, I know, but I love this tweet from J.J. Watt where he's like, NCAA transfer portal opening before March Madness ends. And it's the same as football, right? It's the same as college football. They have the same issue, literally cannibalizing your own sport. And he said, at this point, NCAA just needs to drop the whole student first, athlete second charade, billions of dollars, nil, transfer portal, free agency, traveling cross country for midweek games, education not the main focus, admit it and call it what it is. It's a business, run it as such. So transfer portal opening today. Time to build up programs while you still have players that are playing in the tournament.
Yeah, I agree that the timing from the NCAA is not real good. Hey, why couldn't they wait until after the championship game in April? Mm-hmm. What difference does it make 2 or 3 weeks to move the transfer portal opening into April?
Clearly, it has.
Yeah, what difference does it make?
It doesn't have anything to do with academic transfer papers. If that's what you're saying, that you need to move all of your academics over to one side or one university, let's call a spade a spade. It's not about academics. So if that's the reasoning for their excuse, it's toxic. But I don't see how you can sit here and look at this model and think, oh, this is okay. Everything is fine. I'm content with everything that's going on around. If you're sitting on your throne in the NCAA boardroom and watching players transfer while you try to continue the integrity of this beautiful basketball tournament that gets billions and billions of dollars spent on it every year and billions more in eyeballs, then move your transfer portal, for God's sakes, till after the tournament wraps up. This is stupid.
Yeah, you're off to a roaring start here.
I'm just getting warmed up.
Yeah, we're 5 minutes into the show, and you're already on your box.
That was just the opening verse, baby. Like, we got a few things to get fired up today about.
Yeah,
I'm
wow.
excited.
Throw some water on your fire. Throw some water on your fire.
Any chance that we, get to continue to promote Major League Baseball opening day and continue to throw fire onto, it's already a dumpster fire. Like, I'm just kind of blowing on it and making it go even further. But yeah, J.J. Watt sent the tweet last night, and I'm like, that's exactly how I want to open up this show. On fire, getting fired up, calling the NCAA what it is.
Well, it's the same as football. Look, we were
the exact same. Yeah,
we were right in the midst of the college football playoff little tournament that we devised this year, and then they open up the transfer portal. So while coaches are trying to play for a national championship and get their teams ready to play, they've got to worry about the damn transfer portal.
And it's already hard enough. Like, navigating and building a program from a coaching perspective, like I told you, I would love the dollar signs that these coaches make. I would hate the job. I would hate to have to spend half of my time as a head coach trying to salvage what I already have and trying to keep poachers away, and then still while trying to navigate the transfer portal, navigate nil dollars. I mean, that's why we have so many damn positions, from everything from a general manager of a football team, which I didn't even know existed.
That's what I was going to say.
Enough.
Matt Rule has brought in, look how many guys that he has brought in that are not so-called assistant coaches.
Yeah.
We've got a general manager. We've got a guy overseeing this. We've got a guy overseeing that. I don't blame the guy because he's still trying to coach a damn football team.
Right.
But you got to worry about the nil money. You got to worry about the transfer portal and who's coming in, who's going out, who we're losing, who we're bringing in, what positions that we need to recruit. Yeah, it's more of a business, and we've talked about that for the past year or so.
Yeah.
College football, college basketball is now moving into a business. It's more like the NFL in the football ranks, and college basketball will be the same way. It'll be more like an NBA franchise. Just to give it some time. I don't even know if you have to give it some time. I think we're already there.
Oh, we are here. Well, you remember, I mean, you flash back 10 years ago when we were having conversations about we couldn't keep the one-and-dones because they were leaving to the pros too early. Now we can't kick them out of school because they're wanting to use their, fifth year, senior, COVID year, whatever they get to stay in college sports because they're making money playing college sports.
Well, a lot of them are making
around from university to university.
Yeah, a lot of them are making more money staying in college now, unless you're a first or second round draft choice in the NBA. They're making more money with their nil money in college. Hell, they don't want to go to the pros anymore. And the NFL is probably the same way. If you're a top-tier player, if you're a number one quarterback at one of the Power 5 conferences around, or Power 4 or whatever it is nowadays, you're already making hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know if it's that high, but it's topping that somewhere close to that.
You had an Alabama quarterback that signed a couple of years ago for $5.7 million.
Yeah.
As a 17-year-old kid, he was still a junior in high school. And to get that ink, he wanted the $5.7 million deal. Hell, I'd retire. I'd retire before I even step foot on the field.
Don't even have to turn pro.
Thanks for the $5.7 mil. Thanks for letting me play at Alabama. I got to ride the bench for 3 years until it was my time to shine as a senior. I'm pocketing 5.7, got my education, got my money. I'm going to retire.
Yeah, without even going to the NFL.
Without even having to go it's going to kill the NFL.
So,
anyways, that's what I'm burning on today. Transfer portal officially opens up for college hoops. That said, despite this soapbox, I want Nebraska to be super aggressive and get all the guys.
Oh, we've got to. Who are we losing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, who are we losing off of the team that is headed to the college basketball crown in Las Vegas next week. I forgot about that until I wrote the story this morning on this assistant coach that's leaving. Hell, I forgot that we were even playing in that. Oh, well, did you remember that?
Honestly, no.
No, did you wake up this morning and say, oh, God, Nebraska's getting ready to play
I guess
Arizona State next week?
I guess I didn't realize that the first round games were so far removed from the NCAA tournament. And so I guess I had figured, like, oh, maybe it already happened.
Yeah, maybe it's already happened and we lost. No, we're just getting ready to play in the thing. Yeah, it's next week.
If a tree falls in the forest, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have known until you brought that up this morning. And like that was the first thing I thought. I'm like, oh, we're still playing ball. We're not done hearing from Fred Hoiberg yet on the show. We might get him for another game or two. But, yeah.
We might win that thing. There's a lot of good teams in that college basketball crown. I don't know how good they are this year, but some
programs.
I guess the teams that they brought in are much better than I thought they were going to bring in for the college basketball crown. Obviously, they're not having great years this year, but they are some programs that's got a little pump to their step.
There's some blue bloods in there.
There's
a
all right.
Georgetown. There's a Villanova, I think.
Nebraska.
Right. Yeah. Oh, well.
Arizona State.
Sure.
So, anyway, that's what's going on. Yeah, college basketball crown in Las Vegas. I think it starts Monday.
Okay.
So I'm sure we'll be hearing from Fred today or tomorrow.
Nice.
Before they leave for Vegas. I brought it up with a bookkeeper. We try to cover that on Extreme Sports, maybe do our show from Vegas out there, which wouldn't be good because Vegas is 5 o'clock at this time.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, we couldn't do that.
We'd just be getting home.
Yeah, we couldn't do that. I thought about it. I thought you and me in Vegas and have to be up and on the show at 5 o'clock, which means we got to start preparing at about 3 a.m.
Live from chair number 4.
Yeah, it never happened.
At the 1-3 poker table at Caesar's Palace.
No, that would never happen. That would never happen. So yeah, that's just some of the things that are going on today. If you'd like to chime in, we'd like to hear from you. 402-834-1330. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number. Or if you'd like to leave us a message on our social media sites, we're monitoring that as well. So no matter where you're listening to us or watching us this morning, drop us a message. We'd love to have you part of our show as we wake you up and get you going here this morning on Huddle Up in Extreme Sports. The reason we brought up Nebraska basketball is we're losing an assistant coach. Adam Howard is set to join the staff in North Carolina State after spending 3 years at Nebraska. Before joining the Nebraska staff, he was an assistant coach at South Alabama for 4 seasons. He's also been an assistant coach in Morehead State, Southern Miss, Tennessee, and Troy. So he's going to move on to North Carolina State right in the midst of preparations for the college basketball crown next week out in Las Vegas. So Howard is moving on.
He's been on the staff for a while now with Hoiberg, hasn't he?
What did they say, 3 years?
3 years?
Past 3 years, so.
That's pretty good for an assistant.
He's going to move on.
Okay.
So he's moving on
trails.
to North Carolina State. So happy trails.
Happy trails.
Happy trails. The Nebraska baseball team, they're in action tonight, playing at Kansas State. Huskers just can't get off of a snide. We're waiting for them to get on a roll. They're sitting at 10-13 in the season, coming back from their trip out west. The Wildcats 15-8 on the season. K-State beat Nebraska earlier this year 9-6 in the Frisco Classic. So these two teams meeting for the second time this year. 6 o'clock will be the first pitch tonight down in Manhattan, Kansas. The Cats and the Huskers in college baseball. I still think we have a pretty good baseball team.
Same.
But I'm ready for them to get started. We're 23 games in. Let's get started, guys.
Yeah, time to roll the Corvette out of the garage and show people what we've actually got underneath the hood. It's kind of been one step forward, one step back, right? Like we'll pick up a game and we'll think, okay, here we go. We're getting things rolling. Then turn around and then just throw up a clunker the next day. And I know that's baseball, and I know that happens, but college season's too short for that. You don't have 162 games to make up for it. You've got to be able to start compiling and putting together some wins. I was really impressed a couple weeks ago when we knocked off Wichita State in that 2-game series. And so here's an opportunity. Get the better of a team that got you earlier in the Frisco Classic and turn around and even up the season series with the Wildcats. They got a pretty good ball club, so I think it'll be a decent measuring stick here. But, I'm with you, Mike. Like, it's time to go, and it's time to start putting some getting on the right side of the win column, if you will, for Nebraska and start to get a little bit of a gap going here, because right now you look at the Big Ten standings and it's kind of a cluster down there, and we're in the midst of the cluster, and I'd like to see us get a little bit of breathing room as we head on into the conference portion of the season.
Yeah, you got to start building your resume.
Yep.
Baseball is like basketball. You got to start building your resume. Regionals will be here before you know it. Postseason, the college basketball or the college baseball season is so short. You're into the season, and bam, you're into their conference tournaments. Bam, we got to start worrying about the regionals and getting to the College World Series and things like that. It's a short season, so it's go time for the Nebraska baseball team. We need to pick up a win tonight at Kansas State. Let's start things off. So,
what better way than your old Big 12 rival, Kansas State, to put one in the win column?
All right, so that's some of the things that's going on here this morning. Mike and Tyson, it's a Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. It is now 7:16.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
$7:16 this morning here on Huddle Up. We start off with news out of Holdridge after the Nebraska State Patrol SWAT team arrested a suspect of domestic violence investigation the other night. Sunday night, the Holdridge Police Department and Phelps County Sheriff's Office responded to a report of domestic assault that occurred in Holdridge. The suspect barricaded himself inside an apartment and was believed to be armed. The SWAT team and Nebraska State Patrol crisis negotiators made numerous attempts to communicate with the suspect, who refused to exit the apartment. The SWAT team then deployed tear gas into the apartment, which led to the suspect voluntarily exiting at approximately 5:20 in the morning yesterday. The suspect, 39-year-old Lucas Barrow of Holdridge, was taken into custody for assault by strangulation and third-degree domestic assault. Meanwhile, a Grand Island man was arrested for first-degree sexual assault this past Friday. Grand Island police were contacted by a 40-year-old woman who reported that she had been sexually assaulted while she was sleeping. John Ostermeyer, who was also facing felony stalking charges and 3 counts of violating a protection order against the victim, was arrested for first-degree sexual assault. Ostermeyer has pled not guilty to the charges. In expanded gaming news, Fauner Park and the Grand Island Casino Resort have announced a grand opening date set for April 10th. The location will be opening their doors and revealing the brand new Grand Island Casino Resort. Doors will open at 6 p.m. And the Nebraska legislature will be debating letting voters decide to legalize mobile sports betting next year after Senator Elliot Bostar's constitutional amendment passed out of committee by a 6-2 vote. It is now coming up on 7:19. We'll spin things back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's going down in sports?
Well, the Nebraska men's basketball team losing an assistant coach, as we mentioned. Adam Howard is set to join the staff at North Carolina State after spending the last 3 years at Nebraska. Before joining the Nebraska staff, Howard was an assistant coach at South Alabama for 4 seasons. He's also been an assistant coach at Morehead State, Southern Miss, Tennessee, and Troy. The Huskers are preparing to face Arizona State in the opening round of the College Basketball Crown in Las Vegas next week. The Nebraska baseball team will play at Kansas State tonight. The Huskers are 10-13 in the season. The Wildcats are 15-8. Kansas State beat Nebraska 9-6 earlier this year in the Frisco Classic. First pitch will be at 6. Morningside hammered out 35 base hits and scored 33 runs to beat Hastings College 16-4 and 17-2 yesterday in a doubleheader out at Duncan Field. The Mustangs had 14 extra base hits, including home runs from Hayden Hickson and Michael Dezel. Jake Porras had a home run for the Broncos. John Shepard and Alex Wilson were the losing pitchers. Hastings is now 4-17 on the season, 2-6 in the conference. They'll play at Nebraska Wesleyan tonight. First pitch will be at 6. Hastings High baseball team will open the season today at York. The Tigers had games against Norris and Bennington postponed last week. The Dukes are 2-0 after picking up wins over St. Paul Palmer and Holdridge. Game time today will be at 4:30. The Dordt Defenders will play for the NAIA Women's Basketball National Championship for the second straight year after beating Bethel of Tennessee 84-52 in the semifinals last night in Sioux City. Dordt won the title last year after beating Providence of Montana 57-53 in the championship game. Their opponents tonight will be Indiana Wesleyan, who beat Briar Cliff 70-69 last night. Indiana Wesleyan has won 2 national championships in their program's history. In the men's championship game down in Kansas City tonight, College of Idaho will play Oklahoma Wesleyan. Both games will get underway at 7 o'clock. Coaching news here this morning. Iowa has hired Ben McCollum of Drake to be their next head men's basketball coach. He just finished his first season at Drake, leading the Bulldogs to a 31-4 record and the program's first appearance in the NCAA tournament's round of 32 since 1971. Ryan Odom is the new head coach at Virginia after leading Virginia Commonwealth to a 28-7 record this year. Minnesota has hired Nico Medved away from Colorado State. Medved went 143-85 in his 7 seasons with the Rams. Former Xavier coach Sean Miller will take over at Texas. Miller has led his team to 13 NCAA tournaments in his career, including 2 of the past 3 seasons at Xavier. He has won 487 games in his coaching career. And UNLV is finalizing a deal to bring Josh Pastner to Vegas. He's been the head coach at Georgia Tech for the past 7 seasons. That's a check in your sports headlines this morning. 7:22 now on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Get ready for some beautiful weather the next couple days, but by the time we get to the weekend, looks like more changes are on the way. Hey everybody, Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. Today on this Tuesday, a little breezy. We'll have winds gusting up to 25 miles per hour out of the north-northwest, a high of 68, and a few passing clouds. Overnight tonight, mostly clear, a low of 37, 68 on Wednesday, Thursday 82, same on Friday, and chances of rain as we head into the weekend and maybe the S word.
Right now we've got north-northwest winds at 6 miles per hour. It is partly cloudy. It is 41 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, located at 208 South Burlington, Suite 101 in Hastings. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating scalp treatments, and advanced Glow 2 facials, along with ozone therapy and frequency healing. Join us for our spring open house on March 29th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Enjoy free tours, 20% off all bookings, exciting giveaways, and a chance to win a $100 gift card for the first 30 product purchases. Become a member for 24-hour access to amenities like the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge, plus discounts on services and products. Visit us on Facebook to learn more. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Truly holistic care designed for you.
Connet Auto Care is the trusted name in automotive repair and maintenance services in Hastings. We're a gold-certified Napa Auto Care Center. Our ASE-certified technicians have the Blue Seal of Excellence, receive continuous training, and are committed to providing the best service your vehicle can get. Whether it's preventative maintenance, major repairs, or just an oil change, Connet Auto Care is here for you.
Hamilton has been providing IT solutions for businesses across the state of Nebraska for more than 3 decades. We know that Nebraska businesses are a driving force of support for the communities in which we live and work. We keep them connected and protected by delivering cybersecurity, hosted phones, and managed IT. We are grateful to be part of our Nebraska communities and to support their technology needs.
More information at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Get ready, race fans. Cam Raceway is teaming up with Extreme Sports for an electrifying season of high-speed, dirt-slinging, adrenaline-pumping action. Every race night, we're bringing you live video coverage straight from the track, so you won't miss a single lap, pass, or photo finish. From non-wing warriors to cage karts, flat karts, and the A-class wing beasts, we've got it all. There's nothing like the roar of the engines, the smell of burning rubber, and the rush of dirt flying action right in front of you. So get to the track and experience it live. But if you can't make it, don't sweat. Extreme Sports has you covered. Buckle up, because this season is going to be fast, fierce, and unforgettable. Make sure you like and follow Extreme Sports on Facebook to get all the latest updates, and we will see you at the track.
Mike Will, Tyson Urbanic with you on this Tuesday morning, the 25th day of March. Again, thanks for joining us here on Extreme Sports, whether you're listening to us on our website at x-streamsports.com, maybe on your smartphone with our free mobile app, on your smart speaker, Roku TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch. Thanks for listening to us here on Huddle Up. Again, you can join us on the conversation if you'd like. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number, 402-834-1330. Maybe you want to chime in on something we've talked about so far here this morning, something else on your mind sports-wise, or anything else that's on your mind. Give us a call. We'll chat about it here on Huddle Up, or leave us a message on our social media sites. We'd like to have you join in the conversation here this morning. Again, the NCAA basketball tournament is taking a little hiatus until Thursday. We'll get to the Sweet 16, a couple of rounds of the Sweet 16, and we'll have the Elite 8 coming up this weekend. And by next week at this time, we'll know who's going to be in the Final Four. And we'll see if Tyson rebounds from his disastrous start in his pool, still living with a last place showing after the opening week.
That's all right. We're onwards and upwards. We're focused on a pretty good Thursday. And speaking of Thursday, you know what else Thursday draws is the opening day for Major League Baseball. Should be the official holiday. And I'm still behind all of the efforts that has been pushed by Anheuser-Busch and several other national companies that are trying to get Congress to recognize this as a national holiday that we can all take off and enjoy a game of baseball. But Thursday begins officially, if you will, the opening day where all the teams will be in action. Vegas has put out the lines, by the way, for the World Series. Wanted to get to this here just briefly this morning. Your favorites: the reigning defending champion LA Dodgers at plus 240. Not a whole lot of bang for your buck there. Braves coming in second at plus 900, along with the Yankees, also plus 900 for the World Series. We scroll all the way down to where if you really, really want to take a long shot play, your White Sox are at plus 50,000. Along with the Rockies and Marlins, all expected to have miserable seasons this year. My cards are at 12,500 to 1, along with the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Cincinnati Reds also in there at 8,000. The Royals, just a plus 4,000. So bet $10, win 400 on the Kansas City Royals if you think Bobby Witt Jr. is going to have the year. I'll be very interested to watch Kansas City this season in terms of where they're at in the AL Central standings. Obviously, there's been a player that's made a lot of noise in spring training in Jack Caglione. He's going to start off his season in Double-A. We're expected and anticipated to have a very short stop over in Double-A before he gets elevated to Triple-A Omaha. And what an opportunity that we have here in the state when he starts to play AAA ball to watch one of the future stars in Major League Baseball. By all accounts, he has all the tools And we'll get to see Jack Caglione in Omaha playing for the Storm Chasers here soon. So we're excited about that. But it'll just be very interesting to see how Kansas City kind of rolls along throughout the course of the season. If you want my best bet on a future play, I really like Baltimore at 1,600 to 1.
Wow.
That's I think that's pretty good money for a team that's got a lot of young talent and a decent starting rotation, a good enough bullpen. If I'm playing a futures play to get the most bang for my buck, I'm throwing $50 on Baltimore.
I can see people right now rushing to their stash of cash and hopping in their car and driving to the Grand Island Casino to put money down based on your performance last week in the college basketball bracket. You're dead ass last. So I can see where people would grab their $50 and say, God, Tyson, he's right on the money there. I'm going up. I'm going to bet this.
I think, I admitted to it prior to the March Madness basketball tournament taking place. Like, I don't bet basketball. I mean, and there's a reason, and you're looking at it. We're dead ass last in the March Madness pool. I'd like to think that I know a little bit more about baseball. I'm not saying that Baltimore is going to go win the World Series. I'm not going to say they're going to up in the LA Dodgers. But what I am saying is, if you want the most bang for your buck and a team that I think is going to outlive the expectations of Vegas, I would throw money on Baltimore. So there's that going on.
What was the long shots that you mentioned there?
You got Baltimore at a plus 1,600.
The long shots clear at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Chicago White Sox, Rockies, Marlins, all at 50,000. 50,000 to 1. I don't mind the Royals at plus 4,000. And I kind of like Toronto in there at 6,600 to 1. They got to get some pitching, though. Detroit's a sexy play at plus 3,000 to 1. So there's a couple that you can take a gander at and maybe make a few futures plays if you're heading over to the casino. I'd be really excited to see the progress at the state capitol in regards to the mobile sports betting agenda, which, if they pass it, I need to kind of do a little explainer here on the mobile sports betting, because a lot of people have been asking me about it. And quite frankly, everything that's happening in the Nebraska legislature, everything that they're saying is 150% true. Mobile sports betting is here. It's just that we're doing it illegally, and we'd really, really, really love to do and join and be legal about it. And so they're saying it's already here. It's definitely a social trend. You're watching it every sports program. Whether it's NBC, Fox Sports, ESPN, they all have their own betting shows. I mean, and they're talking about the lines during commentary of the games. And so you know that it's been a cultural shift that has happened in sports. It's just time to bring it into Nebraska. But if the legislature passes this particular bill to open the door to mobile sports betting, the voters would still have to approve it because it would have to be amended into the state's constitution. So they're fighting for something to go on to the next election ballot. They don't have the power to say, hey, we've decided as a legislature that we're going to allow mobile sports betting. The voters would still have to approve it. So that's why it's in the form of a constitutional amendment. But it's something to keep an eye on, and it'll be very interesting to hear debate on this. I think when they were debating expanded gambling in the first place, before it was wildly approved by voters, and the Nebraska legislature had to act, and they had to pass a bill to make this happen, we were hearing some very, very, very uneducated Nebraska lawmakers talking about sports gambling. And so I'll be very curious to see here debate now on the mobile side of things. Might even have to drive my happy ass up and talk to some of the Nebraska lawmakers about the actual facts.
I remember when we were starting to talk about bingo and the pickle cards and Keno. And that's been that long ago. It takes forever. Mm-hmm. It takes forever in this state to pursue anything in the gambling ranks. Of course, you always got Tom Osborne out there. He always speaks against gambling.
Yeah, Tom and Pat Luttinger has kind of been the face. These are all names that gambling is bad. And it's not. And they were trying to bring up the whole property tax thing during debate, saying that they haven't seen their their property tax relief yet. I mean, it's not going to like snap of the fingers happen overnight and bam, you're paying $10,000 less on property taxes. I mean, we still need to build up the pool a little bit, but mobile is going to be a big factor in that. And and then they use the College World Series, for example. If you're at the College World Series and you want to bet at the College World Series, you still have to, because it's happening in Nebraska, drive across the river over to Iowa to place a bet on the CWS because of a wrench that they threw in there that says we can't bet on events that are happening in the state. That needs to go by the wayside. We need to make this 21st century and get with the times.
God, you're on a high horse again. You were on the high horse right out of the gate with the transfer portal opening up, and now we get you involved with mobile gambling.
All the things are happening. They're all happening here this week, and I'm trying to keep an eye on everything that's going on. Also found a very interesting stat. I want to just test you a little bit here before we get into Coach Maddox and talking a little bit about the Hastings College baseball team, since we're on the topic of baseball. I found this infograph. Actually, Coach Ahrens sent it to me. And most regular season wins from 2001 to 2024. Most regular season wins in Major League Baseball for the past 24 years. Who would you think is at the top?
Yankees.
Yankees. With one World Series championship from 2001 to 2024. With one World Series championship, 2,199 wins. Just edging the LA Dodgers, who have 2,153 and 2 World Series championships. And the Dodgers just edging my St. Louis Cardinals.
Wow.
With 2 World Series championships and 2,084 wins. With 1 World Series championship and 1,660 wins. Who's at the bottom? The very bottom.
Oh, God. For the last 20 years?
1 World Series title, 1,660 wins. 30th on the list.
God, Chicago White Sox haven't been bad for 20 years. They've been bad for the last 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Chicago
for 20.
White Sox are not at the bottom.
The Montreal Expos.
No. Would be the now Washington Nationals.
Yeah, but I know. Montreal Expos.
No, they are not. It is the Powder Blue themselves playing at the K. 1,660 wins. Kansas City is 30th in the last 21 years, but they do have a World Series crown, unlike the 3 remaining teams ahead of them. Pittsburgh, Colorado, and Baltimore, all still without a World Series championship. Found that note of interesting news. And speaking on the Royals, everything in the Kansas City chatter that I've been listening to and reading about and watching and listening, they're saying it's more and more and more likely that they will be moving out of the K and into that sports complex towards Kansas in the Sprint Center, Kansas City, Kansas, as they move along. So
the Royals are going to move out, and so are the Chiefs?
That's what it's sounding like.
They're going to be building something out by the racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the
out
Kansas
by that
side.
Sprint area on the Kansas side. Yep.
Yeah, I can't imagine the Chiefs leaving Arrowhead either.
It's tough. And, man, I still think Kauffman's one of the more beautiful stadiums in Major League Baseball, but it's, for us, it's great. It's right on the interstate. We can go catch a Kansas City Royals game. For people in Kansas City, it's a nightmare. And they haven't supported the product anyway, so it looks like they're going to be hightailing towards Kansas.
Well, we'll see if that happens. We'll see if that happens. It's the chatter now, but somebody will step up. They'll stop that. You mark my word.
Ooh, I like it.
Well, and how long is that going to be? Even if they say we're going to move over to Kansas, how long would that be till they build 2 brand new stadiums over there?
God, as quick as they've been putting this Vegas structure up for the A's, I don't know, man. Like we say 3 to 4 years, but they might be ready to roll in 2.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
One team that did not have a good day yesterday was Hastings College.
Windy.
We had 3 home runs yesterday out of the park. at Duncan Field. That doesn't happen often. Morningside hit 2 home runs. And then Jake Porras for Hastings College, he hit a home run for the Broncos. Hastings losing to Morningside yesterday, 16-4 and 17-2. As Morningside hammered out 35 base hits, scored 33 runs in the doubleheader. After the game, I caught up with Hastings head coach Steve Maddox.
As we were just talking, I don't know if we've ever seen a team hit the ball so well in a doubleheader today. Morningside is a good baseball team.
Yeah, by far the best hitting team that we've come across. I mean, exceptional. Working the counts. Yeah, I mean, everything they hit hard.
What can we really pull out of this thing for the Broncos? Did not have a great day, I didn't think, at the plate. Our pitchers were not on their game today. It's going to be a hard time taking anything out of this thing.
Nothing good to take out of it, that's for sure. We did nothing well today. We didn't pitch well. Defense was shaky for the first time. First game we hit a little better than we did second game, but still not a lot of good things to take out of this one. And we really got to regroup and be ready to play tomorrow in Lincoln.
In the first ball game, we got off to a good start. We loaded up the bases in the first inning of play, and we got things started in that first ball game. But, boy, we couldn't sustain any kind of momentum whatsoever.
Yeah, we were hitting the ball hard, so bases loaded, and then, of course, with that, we had 2 line drives in that situation that doubled us off and got us out of it. And then, got bases loaded again, and then ground ball to third, turned a double play out of it again. So we had plenty of opportunities that we really need to capitalize on. And, some good things we saw is, we had Dylan Otto at first base for the first time today, both games, and he had some really good at-bats, some nice hits. So, I mean, if there's something good to look at, there's that, someone that we know that can come in and help us produce at the plate. Defensively, he's always solid. But, yeah, overall, this is going to be sleepless night tonight.
Well, it's hard to swallow because we were outplayed basically from the start this afternoon. We had no answer for anything what Morningside was doing.
No, we didn't. And that's the frustrating thing. We have not played this year up to our capabilities. And we, I said before the game, I told you, I've been watching these teams, went and saw a couple teams this weekend, and we have the talent to match up with these guys. We just haven't shown it. And, it's all between the ears right now. I mean, mentally, we are not there, and we got to get better there.
What's the message? What do you tell the guys at the end of the ball game here with a short turnaround, a trip to Lincoln tomorrow?
Well, I told them, I hope this is a kick in the pants. It should be a kick to their pride and their ego, hopefully. But we still got a lot of games left. Definitely we're not out of it, and we just got to keep working and got to be better.
Got to get better tomorrow with Wesleyan, and then we got a tough team coming in, a team that can hit the ball probably as well as Morningside this weekend with Northwestern coming in here.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy weekend. Number one thing is we got to pitch better. I think it's hard to hit when you got to come back from 10, 11 runs. That really puts a lot of pressure on our hitters to do more than they need to. We just got to pitch. We got to throw strikes, the 2-out walks, 2-out base hits. So those are really killing us right now.
Yeah, I mentioned it several times. You can't give a team like Morningside any extra at-bats. You can't commit errors. You can't walk people because they're so deadly at the plate here.
Yeah, I mean, there's not one guy through that lineup that I'm sure they all had 1 or 2 hits each. I mean, you have that many hits, there's no way to win those games. And, again, pitching's got to be better.
Okay, Coach, we'll see you this weekend.
Thank you.
As Steve Maddox, he's the head coach for Hastings College. Again, the Broncos losing twice yesterday to Morningside, 16-4 and 17-2. The Broncos will play a non-conference game tonight at Nebraska Wesleyan in Lincoln. Then they've got to Northwestern coming up this weekend for 4 games, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. We'll have the action this weekend between the Broncos and the Red Raiders here on Extreme Sports. We've got softball coming up tomorrow night. Hastings College will take on Concordia in 2 games out at the Smith Complex. 4 and 6 will be the game times tomorrow night for the Broncos and the Bulldogs. So a full week of Broncos sports, and we've got it here on Extreme Sports. But kind of a rough day yesterday at the old ballpark for the Broncos and Morningside.
And conditions weren't helping you out either with the winds blowing the way they were, and certainly that was allowing Morningside to just kind of sit back and tee off a little bit. But, man, I've seen this Hastings College roster, and, I've looked up and down the lineup. But there's talented kids on that team, man. And to be where they're at this point in the season, I think he said it best, right? It's between the ears. It's mental right now for Hastings College. You can pick up and string together and start playing some winning baseball, and I think you can turn around and right the ship and kind of get back into the swing of things here in the Great Plains Athletic Conference. But it's got to start with somebody in that clubhouse just getting the team loose. Having fun playing ball again, because right now, you watched a little bit yesterday, and you got to see him firsthand from the press box, and you get down behind early, and you start hanging your heads, and you already have that feeling of being defeated, and you're looking up, and it's only the third inning, man. You still got 6 more to go here, and so I turning around that program a little bit, like I said, just getting the boys loose, having fun playing ball again, remembering what it's all about, and. We'll see if they can't string together, but it's not like Hastings College is without talent. That's a good lineup that he's got, and I'm just excited to see if they can turn things around here.
Again, the Broncos playing at Nebraska Wesleyan tonight, and then coming up this weekend, Northwestern. We'll see what the weather does this weekend. Tim kind of mentioned it during our weather break at the bottom of the hour. I could see some rain and could see some snow.
I hate that word.
I can't stand it.
At this point
of the year, that's going to be April. April is coming up this weekend. Isn't it April 1st this weekend?
Yeah,
I think so.
We're going to get close, right? At this point in the proceedings, that S word is more offensive than the 4-letter S word that we could say on this show.
Yeah, I don't need any more snow. Not after last week.
We're done.
We're done with that. So, well, we'll see what happens. Anyway, as of now, we got baseball and softball coming up on Saturday. So, all right. So that's what's going on sports-wise here today. Shall we switch gears?
We can do that.
You had a chance to talk with some city officials yesterday.
Yes, City Communications Manager Tony Herman yesterday, as he was out and about putting the spring and summer activity guide out onto shelves, caught up with him and talked about some of the things that are all involved in there. And lo and behold, Mike, none of those things that are in that activity guide involve the word snow. So let's hear from Tony Herman as we get set for spring and summer here in the community of Hastings. Our morning conversations continue this morning here on Huddle Up. Tyson Everonic with you. In city offices here this morning, and joining us, Public Information Manager Tony Herman, discussing all things spring and summer here for the city of Hastings. Hot off the press, the spring and summer activity guide, Tony. And first of all, we appreciate the time, and let's dive into this guide a little bit. Is put together every year, and with a lot of different highlights of, quite frankly, just things to do.
Yeah, this has been a transition from what used to be solely a Parks and Rec activity guide. This is my third one that I've created so far for the spring and summer. There are some things that happened actually before I got the guide out, beginning in early March in the guide, and then it runs through kind of mid-September. But it's I work closely, especially with the Parks and Rec department, the museum, and the library, because those are the departments with the most programming. But then at the beginning of the guide, there are, I think, 8. There's several updates on different city projects, as well as a welcome to the community letter from the mayor.
And so with that putting together, just kind of getting an update on some of the projects, what ultimately kind of led from your standpoint to the decision on what projects we were getting updated here on the activity guide?
Some of it was communication back and forth with different city staff, superintendents, and department heads. What do you think should be included? And a lot of it was me just working with those people on a pretty regular basis and knowing what news needed to go out there and what would kind of make a timely and important update to give the community.
You mentioned, as we kind of flip through this guide a little bit and discuss, that this was primarily in the past a Parks and Recreation, and certainly we see a lot from the Parks and Recreation, but two other areas that we bring on the show on a semi-frequent basis, the Hastings Public Library, the Hastings Museum also featured with some of their spring and summer activities. Talk about maybe the effort to include more on this activity guide.
Sure. Well, this all started with our former city administrator, Sean Metcalf, who came to Hastings from Rawlins, Wyoming. And while he was in Rawlins, the community there did something very similar, where it was a citywide programming guide. So I took that was something he wanted to implement when he came to Hastings. So I took what had been done in Rawlins and did something very similar.
And it's not so much just letting you know or putting an event on the calendar that's in this guide. There's like how to register for these events. There's for more information, go to this social media site. There's tons of information that's not just necessarily a list of events.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, as well as deadlines to register and prices if there are prices associated with different activities.
Spring and summer activity guide, again, hot off the press as far as the physical copy is concerned. Where can people go to find those?
Sure. It's a little bit of a work in progress. I received the physical copies on Monday, March 17th. They will go out in the Hastings Tribune the Saturday, what would that be, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, 22nd? That's the Saturday?
Yeah.
So March 22nd, they'll go out in the Hastings Tribune, and a PDF version will be included in the Tribune's e-edition. In addition to that, I'm working on getting copies out to every public-facing city location. The Parks and Rec Department, Museum, and Library all received a few hundred copies. I have copies out to all of the departments that are based in the Utilities Department, and left some here at the City Hall location, City Building, at the Landmark Center in the east side of Hastings. In terms of elsewhere around the community, I'm going to be working with the Parks and Rec Department to put those in businesses around the community. And I think the last time I talked to you was for our communication survey at the end of last year. And one of the things that came up there that I don't know why I hadn't thought of before, but was mentioned a few different times and I thought was fantastic feedback, was to have the guide in convenience stores and grocery stores. Sure. So right now I have confirmation from Russ's and Allen's, from Coach's Corner, and Fill and Chill. So I'm going to keep those locations stocked with the guide until it's time for the fall and winter. And once I get those out, I'll use those locations to market those and hopefully get some interest from other convenience stores and maybe other businesses around the community.
Tony Herman again joining us here on Huddle Up this morning as we talk about the spring and summer activity guide. And one last question before we let you go here is on the social media side. You've got the official social media sites for the different departments and other areas in the city of Hastings, but I know you've spent a lot of time focusing on social media. Since you've taken over, how has engagement been? Have we seen an uptick and an increase in terms of engagement from the citizens?
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of go April 1st to April 1st in terms of the year measuring engagement in social media. It's been good in terms of the City Hall social media pages. Maybe not quite as good as my first full year in 2024, or I started in February of 23, so beginning of February of 23 through April of 24, we had about a 30% increase in followers on our Facebook page. It's been about half that so far. I know our fire department especially has seen a huge increase in social media during that time, and overall a pretty steady growth. But it's fun to engage in the community and see that growth over time. And I welcome feedback, and it's great. Another great tool, especially with Hastings Utilities. Anytime there's an outage, that's a good way to communicate with the public through social media, as well as provide updates whether it's linemen repairing an outage or the water crews working on a broken water main, stuff like that.
Spring and Summer Activity Guide out now. Tony Herman joining us here on the show, hot off the press. And you can pick up your copy today. Tony, appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Tyson.
Always good to catch up with Tony Herman from the city of Hastings. So the guide is out. If you're looking for something to do this spring or summer, the guide is out. So
the guide is out, and like I said, a lot of details in there. It's not just about when the event is, put it on your calendar, and there you go. Like they have put it on your calendar, and oh, by the way, here's how you register. Here's how you find out more information. So jam-packed with info. The spring and summer guide. Don't say that there's nothing to do around the Hastings community here as we move on into the spring and summer months.
All right, 7:55. You're waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
We'll start off this morning in Holdridge, where the Nebraska State Patrol SWAT team arrested a suspect of domestic violence in Holdridge. Sunday night, the Holdridge Police Department and Phelps County Sheriff's Office responded to a report of a domestic assault that occurred in Holdridge. The suspect barricaded himself in an apartment and was believed to be armed. The SWAT team and Nebraska State Patrol crisis negotiators had made numerous attempts to communicate with the suspect, who refused to exit. The SWAT team then deployed tear gas into the apartment, which led to him voluntarily exiting at approximately 5:20 yesterday morning. The 39-year-old Lucas Barrow of Holdridge was taken into custody for assault by strangulation and third-degree domestic assault. A Grand Island man was arrested for first-degree sexual assault this past Friday as Grand Island police were contacted by a 40-year-old woman who reported that she had been sexually assaulted while she was sleeping. John Ostermeyer, who is also facing felony stalking charges and 3 counts of violating a protection order against the victim, was arrested for first-degree sexual assault. Ostermeyer has pled not guilty to the charges. In expanded gaming news, Fauner Park and the Grand Island Casino Resort have announced a grand opening date for April 10th, where they will be opening their doors and revealing the brand new Grand Island Casino Resort. Doors will open at 6 p.m. And the Nebraska legislature will again be debating letting voters decide whether or not to legalize mobile sports betting next year, after Senator Elliot Bostar's constitutional amendment passed out of committee by a 6-2 vote. It's coming up on 7:57. We'll swing it back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's the haps in sports?
Well, the Nebraska men's basketball team losing an assistant coach. Adam Howard is set to join the staff at North Carolina State after spending the last 3 seasons on the Nebraska staff. Nebraska is currently preparing to face Arizona State in the opening round of the college basketball crown in Las Vegas next week. The Nebraska baseball team will play at Kansas State tonight. First pitch will be at 6. Morningside hammered out 35 hits and scored 33 runs to beat Hastings College 16-4 and 17-2 yesterday in a doubleheader at Duncan Field. Hastings now at 4-17 on the season, 2-6 in the conference. They'll play at Nebraska Wesleyan tonight, beginning at 6. Hastings High baseball team will open their season today with a game at York. The Dordt Defenders will play for the NAIA Women's Basketball National Championship for the second straight year after beating Bethel of Tennessee 84-52 in the semifinals last night in Sioux City. Dordt will take on Indiana Wesleyan in the national championship game tonight at the Tyson Event Center. In the men's championship down in Kansas City, it'll be the College of Idaho up against Oklahoma Wesleyan. Both games get underway at 7 o'clock. That's a check on your sports headlines at 7:58.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Get ready for some beautiful weather the next couple days, but by the time we get to the weekend, looks like more changes are on the way. Hey everybody, Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. Today on this Tuesday, a little breezy. We'll have winds gusting up to 25 miles per hour out of the north-northwest, a high of 68, and a few passing clouds. Overnight tonight, mostly clear, a low of 37, 68 on Wednesday, Thursday 82, same on Friday, and chances of rain as we head into the weekend and maybe the S word.
Right now, north-northwest winds at 6 miles per hour. It's 41 degrees at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. located at 208 South Burlington, Suite 101 in Hastings. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating scalp treatments, and Advanced Glow 2 facials, along with ozone therapy and frequency healing. Join us for our spring open house on March 29th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Enjoy free tours, 20% off all bookings, exciting giveaways, and a chance to win a $100 gift card for the first 30 product purchases. Become a member for 24-hour access to amenities like the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge, plus discounts on services and products. Visit us on Facebook to learn more. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Truly holistic care designed for you.
I'm John Butler, Funeral Director and owner at Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Hastings.
And I'm Nikki Butler, the Advanced Funeral Planning Specialist. Whether you choose a traditional service, cremation, or a unique memorial service, our experienced staff is here to help guide you through every step. Visit us at lbvfh.com to learn more about our services and how we can support you.
Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center. We are here when your need is greatest.
All right, getting you through this Tuesday morning again as we approach the 8 o'clock hour. Mike Will and Tyson Urbanik huddle up on Extreme Sports. Kind of the lull. We had all the basketball over the weekend with the NCAA men's basketball tournaments. Now we've got a couple of days in the sports scene. It's there's just a handful of things that are going on here for this early part of the week, and then we'll get back in the thick of things on Thursday with a full slate of games.
How'd you know I had a handful of things to talk about to your TV viewing guide here tonight? We've been talking about it all week, man. The Blues on a 6-game winning streak, and we'll see if we can't continue that and push that to 7 tonight. The Western Conference wildcard race is heating up. 3 of those 4 teams that are in the mix for the Western wildcard are in action tonight. St. Louis, 7 o'clock versus the Montreal Habs, otherwise known as the Canadiens. That's a 7 o'clock face-off. The Minnesota Wild, 4 points in front of St. Louis. They've got another tough one. They dropped a 3-0 decision to Dallas last night. They're taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. And then the Calgary Flames, they have the lowly Seattle Kraken tonight for a home contest. Flames and Blues are favored. Wild, currently the underdog. And again, wild card spots, 4 points ahead is Minnesota, followed by St. Louis. And then 4 points back of St. Louis is Calgary. So could be a very interesting night in the NHL in terms of that Western wild card race. Also want to do a special shout out before we wrap up the show today. Record was broken in NCAA softball yesterday. We have a new player that has the fastest pitch recorded. Congrats and a tip of the cap to Carlin Pickens from the University of Tennessee. Fastest pitch in college softball history, 78.2 miles per hour.
Wow, I didn't know they actually. I didn't know they really kept records on how fast you can throw a softball.
They have records on it, and Carlin Pickens broke it.
Well, congratulations, 78.2. That's whooping the old softball. Yeah, it's whooping it in there pretty good.
From their distance from the circle to the plate, yeah, that'll come at you quick.
You'll have softball tomorrow here on Extreme Sports. Hastings and Concordia beginning at 4. 3:45 for the pregame show. The Bulldogs and the Broncos tomorrow with college softball. We'll have it for you here on Extreme Sports. So that'll wrap up the day. I think we've covered just about everything and more on the show today. If you'd like to listen to us again, you can go to our social media sites and get the podcast of the show, even on the Roku TV, on your app there. There's a spot where you can listen to this show again in its entirety. If you missed some of the stuff we had, a couple of interviews, Steve Maddock with the Hastings College baseball program, Tony Herman from the city of Hastings, a couple of interviews that we had during the show today, so you can listen